Hey, good kind people, what is going on? Lee Sanders here. You are checking out a new RCWR show, TGIF. 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 Happy Friday to you guys. August 6, 2021. We're on with very good reason. We had got bestowed upon us a bonus episode, a new episode at that, of NWA Powerrr. And you know what? Hey, man, no complaints over here. I loved it. I enjoyed it. So we're giving you guys a double dose of the RCWR show tonight. We did put a poll out there about less than 36 hours ago asking you guys if you wanted to get a bonus Friday edition. Now, sadly, what I'm doing right now is not the Friday edition show. It's not. So you guys are actually getting two shows for Friday. No, the show that we were trying to pitch to you guys for Friday, which so far the early votes that's come in, hey, yeah, give us a Friday show. We're basically going to be coming on later on tonight after SmackDown goes off the air. We'll talk a little bit about SmackDown. There's also going to be some Q&A. So if you guys have some wrestling, non-wrestling related questions, you can pretty much shoot your shot while we're live on the air, or head on over to the communities tab over at the RCWR show, and you can leave your comment slash wrestling, non-wrestling related question that way. But yeah, so we're getting this bonus. You know, I'm working hard for you guys, man. We're doing a double dose here for you guys, because initially it was just going to be that show. But then NWA decided, hey, we are going to give you guys a bonus episode of NWA Powerrr. It's our way of saying thank you to the many of you that are going to be attending the NWA Powerrr show and the NWA 73rd pay-per-view later on this month in August, because they sold out. And as a way of saying thanks for that, everybody got treated to a new episode, a bonus episode of NWA Powerrr. Normally we get this once a week. Now look, I know a lot of you guys are used to these recaps by now, and you know that I like to go about maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes. There's no reason to do that on this particular episode. And I honestly feel that the main reason why it's not really needed is because this episode that they put out there, which is for free for everybody to check out, I definitely would encourage you guys, if it's been a good minute since you've checked out the NWA product, you definitely need to go out of your way, check it out. Hopefully what you see will entice you to maybe pick up the Fight TV subscription for just $5, $6 a month. And I got to tell you, and I really got to take my hat off to the NWA, because those of you that's been checking now on a routine basis my NWA Reaction Edition shows, you know, with a passion, I have been saying, hey, NWA, toss a bone out there a little bit more to your social media platforms, the YouTubes and all that. Try to get that fan interest. You know, we understand you're now on Fight TV. All your stuff is now exclusive to them, but toss a bone from time to time and whet the appetite of those fans that used to be checking out your product, but now your product is behind a paywall. Remember that? That's something that we talked about quite a few times here on this show. And I called for them, yeah, give more free stuff out there, even if it means you do a free episode of Power Surge. Make it be on YouTube or whatever. Do whatever you need to do to give folks a free show to whet their appetites and ultimately try to help convert those fans into picking up those Fight TV subscriptions. And I thought what they did with this episode of Extra Powerrr, that's how they dubbed it. They were dubbing it Extra Powerrr. Yeah, totally. And you know, the lineup for the card, pretty goddamn solid as well. Pretty damn solid. So this show ultimately ran about, because I'm actually looking at the length of the full episode right now. This full episode ran about 57 minutes. And as far as the matches that we had got for this week, and our opener, we saw Otis taking on Nick Aldis, the NWA champion. By the way, go on the NWA site right now, go over to the store section, and you guys will see that for a limited time, for $20, there are Nick Aldis 1000 Days as champion posters. It's just one right now, just one design. And it's pretty cool. It's a nice little collage that they had did. It's basically got him dead center with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And then there's two more images of him that's somewhat transparent like in the background. And it says something along the lines of celebrating 1,000 days as NWA champion. So if you're looking to add something to your collection, I would definitely say go out of your way, check that out, as every single one has been signed by Nick Aldis. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I hear that something has been signed, first thing that comes to mind is, oh, we're talking about an original autograph. Okay, cool. As far as what I can tell, it's not a reprint of an autograph. You're going to get an actual autograph photo that I just described of Nick Aldis. So take advantage of that. Limited quantities right there right now. I don't know where it is as it stands at the time that we're doing this show for you guys, but last I saw, which was earlier this afternoon, so about 4 to 6 hours ago, I saw that you could still add that item in your cart and all of that. So I would imagine as maybe we get a little bit closer to Empower Weekend in 73, that I wouldn't be surprised if it were to get sold out by then or just a little bit before then. So FYI for you guys. But great exhibition match that we had with Otis taking on Nick Aldis to open up this edition of Extra Powerrr. Nick Aldis picking up the dub. I don't really think anybody was surprised by that. I think if anything, the real question was, okay, well, what's going on with Otis? How much of an offense is Otis going to have, in this match and everything? And not for nothing, but he actually, let me just crank myself up a little bit more because I think you guys might be hearing me just a little bit too low. So I think that might have did the trick. I think we got the sweet spot for you guys there. But, Otis had got in a decent amount of offense, I would have to say. I mean, just the overall presentation of Otis, he went into there looking like a freaking beast. He really did. And it was funny because I was interacting with those that were watching Extra Powerrr on YouTube, but I was also interacting with those in our Discord server, and we were just all going back and forth about how mega badass Otis is and everything. And I was telling him, he reminds me so much of Hammerstone, of Alex Hammerstone. I don't know if you guys kind of picked that up a little bit, but yeah, he definitely reminds me of Hammerstone. And I just love the fact that he kind of does this Bane thing where when he feels that, okay, my opponent is getting the best of me, and before it all just goes to hell, let me just try to take this little enhancement thing over here. And he's literally doing his own little interpretation of Bane, and he's inhaling some stuff, and it's basically making him cock strong. He's got like that invincibility for a hot minute, and he's doing what he can. I love that. I think that's a really cool. And I also love the touch of the stuff that he's inhaling. I love the fact that we got that extra touch of that red mist that's essentially coming from out of it, and it's pretty much all on the upper part of his mouth, so it kind of looks as though he's been bleeding profusely. One could kind of make the argument, nah man, the chemical that's going to his head, no, he's bleeding from the nose. That's why you're seeing that stuff that you're seeing. Maybe he really shouldn't be taking this stuff anymore if it's having that type of an effect on him or whatever. But no, Otis looked like a freaking beast. I got to give Nick Aldis a lot of props because he went into this bad boy, and this was not a case where Nick Aldis just totally wiped the floor with Otis. Not by any stretch. Not by any stretch is that what happened in this match. On the contrary, he actually made sure that Otis looked pretty good, pretty solid against him. Looked like it was very competitive. The match overall was very competitive. So I definitely got to give a props to Nick Aldis and just overall the way that match was laid out in book. So good stuff right there. Mae Valentine had interviewed Tom Lattimore and the NWA Women's Champion, Camille. That was actually pretty hilarious. They introduced their dog, Camille, and Lattimore did. And I dug that dog. It looked like a pretty nice white Siberian type of husky or whatever. Pretty badass. Stringing together the storyline that we've been seeing off and on when it comes to that power couple and May Valentine. The question was brought up about what's going on with their wedding, how far along are they with the wedding and everything, who all are they going to be inviting to the wedding. And if you really kind of just really read in between the lines there, you could almost make an argument that May Valentine was perhaps looking to get that justification of her undying love and support towards Camille and her man was ultimately going to be rewarded by her being given an invitation to the wedding. And I just can't help but wonder. Are we maybe stirring up things here and we're stringing them in such fashion where, yeah, we know that as it would appear right now, as far as Camille going into NWA Powerrr and NWA 73 weekend, seems as though her title reign is pretty much locked and it's going to continue on reigning supreme, right? But you can't help but wonder if there may be a enemy in the shadows that Camille doesn't quite see yet, that she's not aware of yet, and if maybe it could potentially come in the form of Camille. I just can't help but put that thought out there. I'm very curious what you guys have to say about that, so sound off on that. But you could almost make an argument with, definitely for sure, some of the facial expressions that Camille was making when they were going over who all was going to be invited to the wedding. Probably the only thing that was missing was Camille saying, well, what about me? Am I not invited to your wedding? It pretty much had stopped with Billy Corgan and whether or not he was going to get an invitation. And they pretty much took turns, Camille and Latimer. They took turns just pretty much bashing the hell out of Billy Corgan. Hilarious stuff. I enjoyed that one. Our next matchup on the card. By the way, quick sidebar. For that opening match that we had a special guest commentator, and the special guest commentator, I sadly do not know the guy's name because I don't watch that post show. No hatred or anything like that whatsoever. But the guys over there from the This Is Pro Wrestling podcast, it was one of the guys that was actually a special guest commentator for the opening match between Otis and Nick Aldis. And it was interesting because some of the chats that I was seeing in YouTube comments-wise and some of the comments I was seeing in the Discord, including my own, we really weren't feeling the guy on commentating. Our whole thing was okay, yeah, he's kind of mad. We really don't need him, but there was no hate. It was a unanimous, overwhelming. We get it. This is all about the partnership that's going on between NWA and this podcast. This is basically cross branding. They're essentially helping each other out here. That's ultimately what it's all about. So you couldn't really hate on this, but a lot of us were just really under the impression overall that, okay, yeah, it is what it is, but don't really particularly care for this guy, whatever. One question that I did bring up, and I wish I could remember who it was that actually gave me the enlightenment, but I had asked one of our guys in the Discord. I said, hey, out of the three guys over there on the podcast, is he the most charismatic? I'm just trying to understand why this man was doing the special guest commentating. And they said, yeah, out of the three guys over there on the show, yeah, he's actually the best. So, take that for what it's worth and everything. But yeah, I just really wasn't feeling it. He didn't even have that whole, and that's the thing, he was doing his best to act like a heel commentator and all that, really get under your skin and, taking the cheap shots there at Joe Galley and all that. But, there's certain guys where you just want to kick their ass. And then there are guys that just, does nothing, don't even have the go away heat, don't even, and sadly, yeah, it's not clicking. It's just not clicking. I don't know if that was maybe a one-time deal or if that's something they're going to try to experiment on a couple of more times. But me personally, I could have done without it. Next matchup that we had on the card, I told you guys, this is going to be like one of the quickest recaps of NWA Powerrr that we've done for you guys. By the way, Oldison and Nick Aldis, they went about 15 minutes, I would say. Your second matchup of the night for the episode, Jordan Clearwater taking on Tim Storm. I mean, this wasn't really a squash match. You know, the way this match was booked, Clearwater was made to look a little bit competitive here. You know what it reminded me of as I was watching this match, and this is no shade to the legendary Tim Storm, no shade to him whatsoever. But the way I looked at this, I almost felt as though this was a fight between digital music versus vinyl. And Tim Storm representing the vinyl album era, the vinyl record era, and Jordan Clearwater is representing the digital music era, and I just kind of felt like these two were clashing from that standpoint. So kind of made me chuckle a little bit, as I was watching this, and the more and more that I was looking at Jordan Clearwater, hopefully he takes this as a compliment because it's not an insult. But the more and more I was looking at Jordan Clearwater, the more and more that he reminded me of a young teenage Ronnie Howard. And I'm actually a fan of Ron Howard's work. Of course, I'm talking about Ron Howard, the legendary director. Also, for the longest time, he was on the Andy Griffith Show, Opie, and all that. Yeah, he reminded me of a cooler, kick-ass version of Ronnie Howard, right? But you could kind of say that this was like a squash match. You could kind of say it, but the way it was booked, they did try to make Jordan Clearwater, a little bit competitive here. But yeah, Tim Storm picking up the dub. No shockers, no surprises right here. Now, probably what was one of the biggest surprises, shockers of the entire episode was the main event, Pulp taking on Tyrus for the TV championship. By the way, before we actually get to that match, I got to give mad props. You know what? This is one of those rare occasions here. I know Velvet Sky gets a lot of hazing. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I know she gets a lot of hazing. But I got to give Velvet Sky a lot of props. The segment that she had with Austin Idol, because remember, it's basically Team Pulp, Velvet Sky taking on Team Camille, Austin Idol for the NWA Champion Series finale. And we're actually going to be seeing that play out on Fight TV this coming week. So I thought we were going to get to see that, but the more and more I thought about it, it was just kind of like, it makes a lot of sense to make sure that's behind the Fight TV paywall. Pretty smart how they had laid that out, honestly. But for me, segment of this entire episode was seeing Austin Idol and Velvet Sky go back and forth with each other. And at one point, you just see Austin Idol really laying it in thick and heavy on Velvet Sky that she actually breaks character and she's starting to crack up. You can actually see it. Loving it. I think those two and Billy Corgan and them, they've stumbled upon something that's really cool here, because it seems that if you want to try to get Velvet Sky to that next level of character symmetry, of character energy, showing more layers to a personality in Velvet Sky, it seems that what they've been doing the handful of times with Austin Idol has actually been bringing out some of her best as far as really flushing out her personality more. And the two of them just bounce off of each other very, very well. So I got to give mad props to that. But I also got to give mad props to Velvet Sky for going into the main event match for the NWA TV title here, because it was so weird, because 1 minute it seems like Velvet Sky was just mellowing out, enjoying herself a nice, cool, refreshing cup of coffee or whatever. I don't know what, she's just chilling. Like, she just woke up. She's reading the paper. She's trying to get herself ready for the day. And then I don't know. It just seemed like somebody might have put some type of 5-hour energy drink, gave her a shot or something. And next thing you know, it's just out of nowhere, like left field, all of a sudden she just had this burst of energy, and it helped big time going into this match. I loved it. I need to see more of that Velvet Sky surface. I mean, it got down to a point where a couple of folks were like, whoa, has Velvet Sky actually gotten better here at commentating? It's like, yeah, like, and I've said often, I was like, she's getting better. She just gotta, keep at it and everything. But to date, you go out of your way and you check out this episode. That was actually probably some of her best commentating work to date. And I'm not saying that this ain't no paid endorsement. You know me by now. I call it how I see it. I'll always be honest with you guys. I always give constructive feedback where constructive feedback needs to be given. I also give that constructive criticism and ways of improvement where it needs to be given. But Velvet definitely did pretty damn solid during this here. So great back and forth between Tyrus, Pulp. Saw some shenanigans go down there. 1 point, referee getting taken out. And looked as though Pulp might have had it won, but referee was out. Then the tides turn. Austin Idol making his presence felt, trying to help out his client and Tyrus. You're like, oh man, here we go. We got the freaking screw job. Here we go. Here we go. Still no referee in the picture. You're like, okay, how the hell is this exactly going to end here? How exactly is this going to end? And we get down to the final moments of this match here. And boy, I tell you what, it really got freaking stupid as the final moments of this matchup. Austin Idol coming in, distracting Pulp, and then Tyrus capitalizing, doing a big old body splash to the back of Pulp, and then coming in with the spike to the throat of Pulp. And then remember the ref, he's pretty much he's out of it at this point. But Tyrus, he's covering the Pulp. Idol grabs the referee, drags him back over there, trying to wake him up, go for the count. You'd have thought right there that, okay, yeah, this match is going to continue. We're going to see some type of a kick out. Okay, the match is going to continue. But no, the ref counted to 3. Tyrus is your new TV champion. Just a shocker. There's a decent amount of people that actually did not like this. There are a lot of people that were actually rooting on Tyrus, that actually wanted to see Tyrus not get this. A lot of people were rooting for Pulp to be the one to get that magic number 7. You guys know how I feel about Pulp. I told you guys my list pretty damn short as far as who all I potentially saw ultimately challenging Nick Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold and everything. But you know what? Nah, man, I'm actually cool with Tyrus being the TV champion, especially if it means from the standpoint, you just look at the great reach that Tyrus has. I mean, he still does his thing on the cable shows there. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's still doing his thing as a guest or whatever, co-host on one of those Fox shows, so cable shows. So he's still doing his thing over there. I mean, good bragging rights. I mean, I think honestly the title is in pretty good hands. Tyrus can definitely open a few doors there and everything. I think it's a smart move. I don't think, and look, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But we really shouldn't be crapping on it. I say at this point, look, if we're going to ultimately, the payoff is going to be we have a really cool, badass babyface chasing after Tyrus for the title. Just sit back, enjoy the ride. Let's just see how it all pans out. But I'm in for the ride as far as I'm concerned. But overall, pretty solid episode of Extra Powerrr that we had got. Great free episode. So definitely, you owe it to yourself, especially if you haven't checked out the NWA product in a good minute, or you're curious what's going on, and your excuse is always, not for nothing, it's behind a paywall, my money is a little bit tight, I don't really know if I should be spending the $5-6 on something that I'm not really that sure about. Go out of your way, check out this episode. It's free. You've got nothing to lose, but you got a lot to gain when it's all said and done. Now, my advice to NWA, do more episodes like this. Even if it means you can only do something like this once a month, I say go on ahead and do it, because if it ultimately means you're going to be able to get more eyeballs on your product and ultimately convert them over to being Fight TV fans, then go on ahead and when you can, definitely do this once a month. If you can at this point do an episode of Power Surge once a month, you definitely should be able to do a free YouTube for all edition Extra Powerrr as well. You'd be I won't say a fool, but it definitely would be silly to just do this one and pretty much you're not doing it again for about 6, 7, 8, 9. No, you got something here, and not to mention you can definitely monetize it, get yourself a nice little bit of coin off of it at the same time. So those of you that end up seeing this extra edition of Powerrr, sound off, let me know what you guys had thought about it. And in the meantime, we're going to stick a fork in it. We're going to call this episode DONE done. You haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that like. When you do that, helps out tremendously, puts more eyeballs on the product. Feel free to subscribe as well. I will be back with you guys later tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, after SmackDown goes off the air. We'll just do a 90-minute show. We're pretty much going to be in and out. We're going to talk SmackDown. We'll talk a couple of little wrestling headlines. Not really too much because we were just on the air on Wednesday. But we'll talk a little bit of wrestling headlines. We'll definitely talk about SmackDown and any wrestling-related questions or non-wrestling-related questions that you guys have you'd like for me to tackle. You'll be able to do it on that show later on tonight. All right? Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I see a couple of you guys have followed me on those platforms. Some of you gone out of your way. Let me know how much you appreciate the podcast, appreciate the kind words and all that. But definitely get at me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go around, wishing all y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Peace.